Hey, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Road to Glory. I am your host, DJ Star _22. And let me just get some music going here. All right. So, underneath, of course, we have the game that we'll be playing today, which is F1 2021. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to have a little lesson. We'll see how it goes. So, today, if you didn't see the flyer, let me pull it up for you real quick. The flyer is, let me see, is it up there? All right, I think the flyer is up there. Let's see. Today, we're going to be on the Monza track because that is where F1 will be taking place next week. And so, we got some people in the chat. Hi, what's going on, Harvard boy? He said this man's gonna be famous. I appreciate that. I'm hoping. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing the basics. And so we're going to be talking about braking, we're going to be talking about acceleration, we're going to be talking about steering, and really I want to focus on those three because that's what I had to learn in the very beginning, in that like those three are really hard to do. And so if you can get those three down, then I guarantee you'll be a success. So today we're going to go to Italy. Let's find it on here. And actually, before I even get in on talking about Italy, I really want to talk about F1 real quick because if you guys did not know, or if you don't follow, I don't know if you follow F1 sports at all, but this weekend was huge. There was a huge shakeup in that I believe it was Kimi Räikkönen who was retiring. And because he's retiring from Alfa Romeo, that shook up the entire roster for next year. And so that made one of one of the drivers from Mercedes. Actually, let me see if I can get out of this, because this would be pretty cool if I can show you how this works. Yeah, just just a little lesson. I love F1, and so I think part of just like this whole journey is just getting to know F1 and the race and the different drivers as well. And so like I said, there was a really big shakeup this week, and so let's see if I can get it so that we can see the drivers. We're just going to choose this. Okay, so that's Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton's my favorite driver. And his driving partner is Valtteri Bottas, right? And what happened is Alfa Romeo, let's go to Alfa Romeo Racing. Kimi Räikkönen announced his retirement. And Kimi Räikkönen is an amazing driver in his own right. He was a former world champion, but because of his retirement, that means Valtteri Bottas next year is going to be heading to Alfa Romeo. And then that ended up causing another shift, which a lot of people knew about, which is this young driver right here, George Russell, who is really a phenomenal driver. He's won F2 in his first year. He won F3 in his first year. So he is now going to be driving alongside Lewis Hamilton for Mercedes. And last year, he actually got the opportunity to drive for Mercedes, and he almost won However, there was an issue in the pits and messed up his tire, and he ended up being out of the race. But he is now going to be driving for Mercedes, and that also opened up a seat for Williams. And one of my favorites is coming back in the name of he used to race for Red Bull, and honestly his name slips me right now because I know it's not Esteban Ocon, but Alonso. No, it's Esteban, I believe. But yeah, so he's gonna be coming, and so it's really cool just to see, like, yeah, all of those switches, and not to mention there will be a new car next year as well. So F1, if you guys aren't into it, you should definitely check it out, because yeah, it's just, I love it. I love it. It's a lot of, if a great way to get into it is to watch the Netflix special Drive to Survive. I believe that's what the name of it is. So you get to know all of the drivers that way and the cast of characters. So anyway, like I was saying, we're doing back to the basics today. And so with that, we will be literally going back to the basics. And the first thing we're going to be doing, of course, is adjusting our car. And if I am not mistaken, I believe we don't have a setup for this, but this actually would give us a good time to be able to talk about setups. So let's go to this. And the first thing I want to actually talk about, because since we are going to talk about braking first, is the brakes, right? So you have brake pressure, and the brake pressure is when you press down on the brake, the amount of pressure for the brake. And so I usually keep mine like around 95%, because since I am driving with no assist, if you have 100% and you press the brake pretty hard, your brakes will have a tendency to lock up, and the goal is not to lock up your brakes. Okay. And so, but if you are driving with assist, then you can have it at 100%, because your assist will allow, it's like anti brake locks, so it won't lock the brake. And then there's this, which is the brake bias. And so I had to learn, and I'm still really learning about brake bias, but the idea is that, like, you can put, you can either have a balance where you have the brake pressure is 50-50, but usually you want to have more brake bias up front, whether as opposed to the back, because you're going to want to, when you brake, your goal is to stop quickly and then let off the brake so that you're able to turn. And if you have more brake bias in the back, you might have a tendency, and you'll see this because we're going to actually play around with it, but you'll have a tendency to oversteer and understeer and swerve off. And so actually, we won't do an actual anything today, because we want to go out and just talk about brakes. All right, so here we go. All right, so I'm actually going to slow up as we go around the corner. So brakes, the number one thing about braking is you always brake in a straight line. And it is the hardest thing to do, because you're going to want to try to brake while you're turning. And I'm going to show you what happens when you do that. So let's say we're driving, right? And we have this huge turn coming up, and I'm going to brake while I'm turning, and you'll see exactly what happens. You will spin out, right? And so you don't want to do that, because that's not healthy. And what I learned just through watching videos, if you're braking and turning, then your tires are not actually doing, they can't do both. And so they're going to have to compensate. And so the goal is for your tires, it's for you to get the best out of your tires. And so you want to brake in a straight line first, and then once you slow up enough, then you want to be able to go into your turn. And going to your turn, we'll talk a little bit about this, is all about the apex, right? So let's just say I'm gonna brake here, right? It's a little too hard. And then go into my turn. And also even, and we'll talk about this in acceleration, you don't even want to turn when you're accelerating as well. Or if you do turn when you're accelerating, you want to be very light on the gas. And so the number one thing that you just need to remember about braking is, of course, brake, then turn. All right. Now there is a thing called trail braking, and we won't really get too much into trail braking right now. But trail braking is basically coming up off of the brake slowly as you're going into the turn. The other thing that I want to talk about braking, and just in simulation in general, sim driving in general, is that like these cars and the way that it's programmed, it's like to mimic the real world, right? And so if you are in a car, if you've ever been in a car, remember when you brake, all of your weight moves forward as well. And so, and when you accelerate, all your weight moves backwards. And so what's important, why is that important? Let's say if I'm at the starting line and I'm about to take off, right? So if I take off, I'll spin out like that. And the reason why I spin out is because I don't have any traction on my front tires. And so this talks about the A in the basic, which is acceleration. And so when you accelerate, especially in a car with so much horsepower, you want to be very slow on the gas to start out and then pick it up. And then and what will happen is your car will begin, your tires will begin to meet the road, and then you'll have more traction and more control. All right. So let's restart this lap. And just knowing those two things, let's go through it. All right. So we're going to brake, right, and turn. And accelerate out of the corner. All right, give me 1 second here. I lost one of my controllers for the stream. I want to get it back. All right, hold on, guys. All right, so I lost the controller, so I need to get another one. Hold on 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, so like I said, we're going to focus on braking and acceleration, which is the B and the A of basics, okay? So again, brake, we're going to get off, we're going to let up off of the gas, the accelerator, when we're going through that turn. I'm going to brake here, turn in, and the goal is to try to hit an apex, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. I guess that could actually be an A as well, because apexes are very important. Here we are. We're braking a straight line. Let up off. Give it a little gas. Let up off. And we're back on. Brake. Now you are able to ride. A lot of times you can ride the accelerator, but you definitely do not want to be full throttle in a turn because you will spin out. So that was all of those are really good turns. And Monza is a really good track because it's a fairly easy track and it's very fast. And so you're able to get a lot of good speeds on here as well. All right, so here we go again. We're looking for that black box. We see it. We're gonna brake right here. I braked a little early. Come in. And the next big turn is coming up. We'll do it around the 50. And there we go. And the entire time I was off the gas as well. Now there, I did not brake in time. Instead, I gave it way too much gas. Again, brake. And here, I am riding the gas because those turns aren't as sharp. The goal is to get as close to the apex as possible. All right, so that's braking and accelerating. All right.
Last lap
The
was
next thing
1:29.
we want to discuss is the S, which is steering. All right, so in steering, thanks, Steffi. Yes, F1 is at Monza this weekend, and definitely going to be really exciting. And not to mention the other big thing. So I'm gonna geek out real quick on F1 racing. The other big thing is there is a battle going on for the World Championship between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and no one is letting up. And so it's really cool because like Lewis Hamilton, you know, for the most part has dominated for the past few years, and so to see Red Bull really step up and to see Max Verstappen step up and watch them battle is just amazing. So yes, it is in Italy this weekend, which is also where the Red Horses, better known as Ferrari, is hoping to win because that is their home turf. So we will see. Now we're going to get into. Let me pull up the slide. Okay, so let's talk about steering. It's pretty simple, but there's this thing called a racing line, and I am going to show you all what that line looks like. So I need to set up my let's go to settings. Let's go to assist, and we're going to do a full racing line. and we'll do it in 3D. Okay.
Full.
So the green line is the racing line, and the goal of this line, a lot of people think that when you're driving and you're doing sim racing, that you drive in the middle, and that's not the goal. You don't drive in the middle. You want to drive the shortest distance. And so if you notice here, you're turning as close to these apexes. Wherever this you see the green meet the curb, that is where the apex is, right? And so when you're driving on it into an apex, it's really going to exit you in a different place that's not the middle. And as you're preparing to drive to the next corner, you also want to be able to get over as well, right? So learning the racing line is something that takes a lot of time. And as you can see, I'm not on it because I was looking elsewhere. So yeah, learning the racing line takes a lot of time. And the other thing is, one of the things that you can always do is if you're playing the game, following behind an AI car, because they usually drive on the racing line, is always good. But you can definitely always have this up as well. But what ends up happening is, as you continue to race and you really get to understand the car, sometimes you don't always follow the exact racing line, because especially when you're racing, because a lot of times you're racing against other people and they might not be following the racing line, as well as you're also trying to gain you're trying to gain position. And so when you're gaining position, you're not always going to necessarily be on this exact same line. But the goal of this line is to really be able to get you to cut the track short and to get you to be as fast as possible, right? So that's really the steering aspect. The other thing about steering is there's a lot of downforce on your F1 car. So you have to trust it. And sometimes you think that the car is not going to do what it is that you want it to do, but it sticks to the ground a lot. And so as you practice and as you continue to practice, you will begin to trust your car a lot more as well. And let's talk a little bit about the I. The I said is called information and inputs. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're doing driving more, or not just with, your hands and steering, and not just with your feet as you accelerate and brake, but you're taking in information with your eyes. You're also taking in information if you have if you're using a wheel. 9 times out of 10, they'll have like feedback on that wheel. And so you're taking in all this information, and it's telling you something about the car, and it's telling you something about the track. Like, for example, if I am, let's see, I can do it right here, right? If I'm going over these green markers, that's a curb. So you heard the curb, but my wheel is also giving me feedback and letting me know that I'm on the curb. And being on the curb is not necessarily a bad thing unless it's raining. And if it's raining, you might spin out because the curbs are slippery. So you have that part. The other thing about like information and input is a lot of times, and I talked about this last week, a lot of times when we're driving, you only focus on what's in front of you, right? Like directly in front of you. And when you're racing, you actually want to focus on like 1 to 2 seconds ahead of you. And so you're not really paying so much attention to what's directly in front of you, but like you're trying to look ahead. And you're looking ahead for several reasons. One, because you want to find a braking point. And a braking point is where you want to stop. And then your release point is where you're going to let up off the brakes as you go in. And so I talked about this in one of the earlier streams, but let's just give an example real quick. So right now I'm really focused So my breaking point is usually like right around here for this turn. And what I was sort of looking towards, just to give you guys an idea and an understanding, I was looking at that yellow Pirelli sign because that's how far ahead I was looking. And right now, what I'm looking at is the corner, and so the apex. Because if I'm braking, then I know that I'm about to come in, right? And now I'm also looking at the next apex, and now I'm looking all the way so that I'm able to, I was looking all the way to the left so I'm able to come fully out of that turn and not, and stay on road basically. Okay, so information is all around you, and whether it's the cars that you're driving next to, or it's the different signs, because some people use different signs as a breaking point. But you want to take in all the information, and you also want to take in the information of the car, because as you drive your car, you're going to notice a few things. A, that it's not going to keep stopping on a dime because you're using up the rubber on the tires. And so as your tires wear down, you're going to have to change your braking point, right? You might have to change the speed of your entry into your corner. And so you're also taking in that information into as well. And so, yeah, racing in sim racing is a lot more than just steering and pressing the accelerator and pressing the brake. You're using all of your senses in order for you to get the best lap possible. All right, so that is BASI. Next is C and S. So C is course. One of the things that I really had a bad habit of doing is just getting out and racing. That was like a thing that, yeah, I had to learn. And this is where that whole idea of going slow to go fast comes from. You have to get out and learn your course. You want to know, okay, pretty much where everything is, where all the turns are, where all the bumps are, the limits, you know, and a limit is basically how far out can you go before it says your lap is disqualified. So let's see if I can give an example of that. So let's say I'm going here. If I go here, I should have disqualified me, but I went over the limit, right? And so you want to know how far you can push your car and where you can push your car. And so understanding the course, especially where those turns are, the hairpin turns, like this turn for me, it took me a very long time to learn how to get it. I used to run all into the red all the time, and it was very frustrating. But a lot of that was because I didn't really study the course. I just instead would just get on and race it like I knew it, and I really didn't know it. And so understanding the course, I forgot to break there, guys, but understanding the course is really important as well. All right. And then speed. And I kept speed last on purpose. And the reason why I kept speed last is because when we race, we think that speed is number one and going as fast as we can is going to get us first. But there's other things, and this S can actually stand for strategy, right? When you're doing a race, there's more than just going fast. There's more than just speed. There's strategy. And so what do I mean by strategy? Well, when are you going to pit? When's the best time to pit? What type of tires do you want to use? When do you want, do you want to start off in your medium tires, or do you want to start off in the soft tires, right? Or you want to start off in the hard tires? It depends on how long the race is going to go. A lot of people like to start off in the soft tires because you can get the fastest times. But then there are some people who would prefer to start in the medium tire. and go long on that, and then end in the soft tire, knowing that a lot of other drivers are going to start on the medium and go soft, which means you'll be able to gain better lap times on those drivers. And so there is a lot of strategy when it comes to racing and not just speed. And one of the things I had to learn about strategy, this is what I used to do, what I just did. But one of the things I had to learn about strategy is it's not always about passing the person as soon as you can pass them. Sometimes you want to draft behind them. Sometimes you want to allow them to keep the pace. And then you want to know at the exact moment when you want to pass, because if you pass too early, then they can gain it back. They can gain the position back. And so a lot you'll see, especially at the end of races, that's when there's only like between 5 to 10 laps left. It depends on how long the race is, but let's say if it's a 10-lap race, so between like 2 to 3 laps left, you'll see a lot of racing happening, because they know that if they're able to gain that position and keep that position, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be able to win that position at the checker flag. And so that is the basics. You have braking, you have acceleration, you have steering, inputs / information, course or circuit, and then strategy. Strategy over speed. Remember, strategy over speed. All right. So with that being said, how are we doing on time? All right, we got 30 minutes. I think it's time to get into some racing. We have somebody in the chat. Yes. Thank you, Steffi. Yeah, definitely. Tires are everything. Braking is everything. Tires are really important. You want to be able to conserve your tires as much as possible. Because if your tires go, then that's pretty much the race for you. All right. So with that being said, let's actually get into some driving. Let's see, what is the challenge this week? My times are horrible because I didn't try, but it's okay. It's all about learning today. Oh, the weekly event is locked. All right. Well, let's actually do, one thing that we haven't done before, because I'm usually just on the track by myself, is actually race. So let's actually race. And we will race at Monza. I don't want to keep, all right. And why not? Let's be my favorite, Lewis Hamilton. Let's look at the assists. I'm going to take the racing line off. All right. All right, so I wanted to make it a little competitive, so I won't. Right now, I've been trying to race on 95 AI because I'm trying to make a league, but I'm sure you guys would like to see something a little more interesting, and so we will. Let's see. I should be able to do well in 50. All right. Hopefully, I won't embarrass myself. Yeah, we'll stick to realistic surface. We'll have some flashbacks. We'll do reduced car damage for now. Standard rate. Keep the low fuel mode easy. Race start. will be manual. Yes, and this is important because I'll show you if I struggle with starts, and so you'll be able to see what I mean if you give it too much gas. All right. So let's start this event.
Welcome to Monza, where the crowd are ready for today's action. And we hope you're ready to see the world's best drivers fighting it out for that #1 spot. It's time.
So this will talk about the track, so this will be pretty cool. I believe it'll go through the track.
Top speeds reaching 215 miles per
Yes.
hour. Only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action.
So it's a 3.6 miles, and there's usually people who
who
are racing who can do this under a minute. So just think about that. They're going more than 3 miles in under a minute.
Keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
All right.
With the race
Nice
minutes away from
advice.
starting, here's what today's grid
Let's see where we
looks
line up
like.
at.
Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole
Okay.
position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton,
Fourth.
Carlos Sainz, and Tsunoda. Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Leclerc, and Lando Norris. Ocon, Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel. Raikkonen, Russell, Nicholas Latifi, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Mick Schumacher, and Nikita Mazepin. That's it then. It's
Yeah, Harbor Boy. I do have them on YouTube. I just haven't released. I haven't released them yet. But yeah, I'll get them on YouTube as well. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go to car setup. And as you guys know, I am a member of the Hot Laps, and so we're going to use a Hot Lap setup, and which means we need to go to the Hot Lap screen. So let's do that now. All right, here's our Hot Lap screen. Make it a little bigger so I can see it. All right, so with the Hot Lap screen up, let's go to the track, and let's see if I can see it. Monaco, here we go, Monza. We'll view the leaderboard, and as always, we'll pick PlayStation, wheel, F1 Modern, and then we'll do 2021. All right, so, and we also want to have no assists. So we have this guy here who did 119 on a sunny day. Let's look at it. And a Mercedes, which is great because that's what we're driving. So we'll view him. And then we're going to go to his setup, of course. And then we're going to use his setup. All right, so he has 8.2. So he doesn't have a lot of rear wing, which means we might fly all over the place, but we'll give it a try anyway. 80-50. So he has a lot on the suspension. We'll do 2.5, 2, 5, and 2. All right. And then, oh, that wasn't suspension, my bad. That was, yeah, it was just suspension geometry. Now we're going to actual front suspension. He likes this car very loose. So basically, if you see low numbers, that means the car is not as tight, which means you might end up seeing me change it because I like my car just a tad bit tighter. I feel more secure. But a loose car, if you know how to control it, will definitely give you a much better rating. And then for his brakes, he has 98, and it looks like 58. All right, we'll keep the tires the same. And we're not gonna save this just in case I change it. All right. Okay, so let's get out of this setting here. And I'm sure you guys would like to listen to some music as we cruise today. All right, so we'll start this song here. All right, and we're gonna race. Now, I will do my best to try and talk during the race, but there might be moments when I am silent. All right, and I didn't see how many laps this is going to be, but I'm hoping it will be the short version, and this will take us out for the night. Yeah, 5 laps. All right, so that's what I mean. So, saw what I just did there, right? Starts to me are the hardest thing to do. So I'm actually going to change this setting to have a start assist. I'm still learning starts. Let's go to simulation settings. Where is it at? It should be an assists. Pit assist, gear assist. I don't see it. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Let's restart the race. Here we go.
That looked bad. Are you all right? Let me know you're all right.
We're going to figure it out, guys. I promise you. All right, here we go. This will work. This one will work. All right, we lost a position, but that's fine. We'll gain it back. So this is what I mean. I didn't pass Gasly because right now it's just probably not the best time to get pass. And I know that I'll be able to. I definitely have a much faster car than he does. Like, for example, right now. Same thing with signs.
Nice move. Good job.
Ooh. Ooh. I should have been driving instead of talking. All right, we'll pass him again. So I was looking for my braking marker. So we'll pass signs on the next go round. Same position, same space. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna try to stay as close as possible.
DRS is now enabled.
All right, so now we gotta gain back the positions that we lost. Oh, all right, I wanna redo that turn. That definitely didn't brake the way I needed to brake. Now, the good thing that Bottas and Perez are fighting, because that will allow me to catch up to them, and I should be able to overtake both of them on the next, that same little space where I've been passing everybody else at. Ooh, car almost got away from me. So what DRS does is, for those who don't know, it opens your back wing up, which allows you to take in more air, and which allows you to go faster. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Hit a curb. All right, here we go. I should be able to overtake both of these on this next pass. We'll see. Maybe not. We'll see, we'll see.
Great work. That's a new fastest lap of the race.
Ooh, he's gonna play me. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. This is what makes racing fun. I'm gonna give him back that position. All right, so we have 2 laps left. I don't know what Bottas is doing. Alright, I should be able to get Bottas on this next round, hopefully. I'm moving a lot slower than I want to. And he is booking it. Like, he is really moving. I'm not going to catch him.
This is your final lap of the race.
Let's see if we can get second. So what keeps happening is I'm hitting the accelerator way too hard, and so that's causing me to spin out. So remember in basics, you know, brake, acceleration, you have to be very gentle. If not, you'll just keep spinning out. Let's see, this should be a good one now. And the reason why you spin out is because of gravity. You accelerate the car too much, you have no front steering, and therefore, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting way too excited about trying to catch bow ties. Here we go. Oh, I did not mean to hit that button. I hit the wrong button. So I'm using, if you're looking at bottom left corner, it's called overtake.
The gap behind us is 2.3 seconds.
One of the secrets I learned from watching this F1 Pro sim driver is that, like, he uses his overtake when he's coming off of corners to help him gain traction. That's also part of the reason why I'm spinning out, is because I'm actually putting a lot of torque in my tires. Alright, I may not catch bow ties. We might settle for third place, which is fine.
Gap to car in front is 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, we're gonna get third, but we'll get a podium. Yeah, third place it is. Nice race.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
One day I hope to show you all a race without no flashbacks, but hey.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix.
Let me stop the music.
And an achievement they can be immensely proud of. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions, and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today,
So,
and the results speak for themselves.
There you have it, guys.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them.
Third place, which is not bad. Just a recap for you all today. Actually, I'm gonna get out of this little thing. All right, so let me mute this and we'll just recap what we did today. All right, so today what we did was discuss so braking, acceleration, yeah. So yeah, that is episode 2. Hopefully it was a lot better than episode 1. I had a lot of fun, and hope you all did as well. And definitely look forward to plenty more of these in the future. All right. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share what you witnessed and what you saw here tonight. And yeah. So without any further ado, I bid you adieu. Have a great evening, and see you all next week, next Thursday, same time, 9 p.m. Peace out.